Awesome. Well, good morning, everyone. Happy
Morning.
Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. What's your Friday like? Anyways, so happy to be here on Shift Happens. My name is Jess.
I'm Chelsea,
and this is Shift Happens 2.0. We're so stoked to have Lauryn on here this morning, and I'll give her a quick intro, and then we'll kind of get going. So, Lauryn Lavandula is a modern medicine woman and the creatrix of Arise Alchemy. She offers embodiment and life coaching, blending her knowledgeable and experienced background of yoga, psychology, healing, and sacred sexuality. Her mission is to empower you to heal your relationship with yourself as you experience liberation and awakening. Lauryn focuses on spiritual and intuitive development, all through listening to the wisdom of our bodies. She incorporates the blessings of shadow work and reconnecting with your inner child as you integrate into your wholeness and journey back to self-love. Lauryn guides you to return home to yourself, so you may find the answers you seek within. Awesome. What a great bio. So I guess to kick us off, I think first, Lauryn, I'd just love to ask you, what called you to the element of ether? So we're a couple days into the ether element. We're wrapping it up with that element. And yeah, I feel like you were pretty on it when I reached out to you. You're like, ether. So I'm just curious what your connection is to that element and why you felt called to do a presentation on it.
Awesome. Thank you. Hello. Well, first, I just want to say thank you, Jess and Chelsea, for hosting this beautiful space and inviting me on here. It's really, really exciting. And just also thanking everyone for showing up and being a part of Greater Shift and Transformation and all of the presenters. It's just, yeah, we're doing it and we're here together. And so I just want to start with that gratitude. It's my pleasure to be here. So when you first asked me, Jess, what element I wanted to do, water is my natural go-to, but something just popped in my head, ether, and then I immediately felt it in my mind was like, ooh, ether, and my body was like, yes, ether. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I'm actually going to talk a little bit about this later in today's examples about how sometimes our intuition is often the thing that we maybe don't want it to be, or maybe the thing that we least expect. So I'll talk a little bit about that later. But yeah, when the ether element came up, I really felt that it is the one that's the least talked about. It's the one that is the most mysterious. And it's kind of like the unnameable. It's kind of represents a lot of different things. So before I say too many more words about what ether means to me, I would love if anyone on here wants to pop in just maybe one word, what they think of when they hear the word ether, just for fun, just to see kind of where everyone kind of gauges that. So I'd love to hear. So while you did that, I really am excited because, yeah, like I was saying, so we often hear about the four elements, right? We often, hear water, fire, earth, air, but we don't hear about ether talked about. So that's basically the intention here. So I will say that the words that come up for me when I think about ether are space, void. Oh, nice, cool. Rue just said spaciousness. Awesome. Right as I said space. Jinx. I will say that mystery and the unknown and this bridge, the void. And so the ether is kind of the top of the elements, which is great while you look at how we've built up over the last series of weeks to build to, you have this earth and the water and the fire, which is kind of the bridge between the physical world. And then you have the air. So you're starting to get into the unseen realm. And then you have the ether, which is this complete mystery of the unseen. And so when we tap into the ether, we actually get to kind of bridge the worlds between the physical and the non-physical. Oh, someone said prana, consciousness. Great, beautiful. Let me see if there's some more popping up right here. Spirit, yes, absolutely. Spirit, oneness, connection, absolutely. So all of these wonderful things are what we're going to bring into the conversation today about ether. The word that I've chosen to focus on today is the field. And I was really excited when that kind of popped in for how I was going to describe this, because it's a very powerful word when you hear the field or the force, and you kind of recognize that in this spaciousness there is a communication that's happening, there's a connection that's happening, very much like how Wi-Fi signals work, how we're able to meet over the Ethernet, the internet. We're able to meet because of this connection that's unseen, and then we're able to show up and be connected in this way. So technology has found this way to advance and show us this very physical thing, but this is happening all of the time, even when we are when we're experiencing even between dream worlds and our everyday life, when things are communicating with our energy fields. So I want to tie this into how this is relevant to your unique mission, to listening to your inner guidance in this lifetime that is supporting you in moving forward and really being able to listen and hear and to be able to discern some of the language of the body, because the language doesn't speak in words. It's a non-verbal experience. And when we were children, we were very connected to that experience. And then along the way, we have been programmed to become up in our head and disconnected from our body. Excuse me. So before we really dive more deeply into this, I want to first offer just a small practice of checking into our body. And we're going to do that throughout so we can continue to pause, because practicing pauses and checking in with our body is the first way to reconnect with the language of the body. So I want to invite you all to just close your eyes if you're in a comfortable and safe position and that feels good for you. We're just going to close the eyes down for a moment. And just allow your natural breathing to support you without trying to change anything, without trying to force anything. And just allow yourself to arrive inward. And I'm going to invite you to bring your awareness into your belly. And this is a noticing practice. It's not a judgment practice. We're just looking for information. So notice in your body, what is there? Is your belly tense and tight? Or maybe it's soft and tender and relaxed. If you're really relaxed, you might even be able to hear some gurgling, which is always, always a good sign to hear your belly growl. And so anything that we experience right now, it's just information. It's in form, something coming in form in the body for us to experience, to decipher, to connect with. So I invite you now to bring your awareness up to your heart. And if it helps too, you can also bring your hand to your heart. And same, when you go to different areas of the body, you can touch the belly, you can touch the heart. And notice too, what is this area like? Is it expansive? Notice your body posture, your shoulders slouching in. Are you sitting up tall naturally? And again, not good or bad, just noticing. And feel your breath here for a moment as you begin to drop in a little bit deeper. And then bringing your awareness up into your throat. And I again invite you to bring your hand up here and feel. Does your throat center feel open and expressive? Does it feel that you've been saying what you've needed to say or desired so deeply to say and express out into the world? Or is it a little bit tighter and maybe closed down at the moment? And again, not good, not bad. It just is. And now releasing the hands down, and just take a moment to just let that all go. Let go of what we just did. And again, tune back into your breath. And again, notice too, is the breathing coming naturally for you? Or does it take a little more effort to focus on your breath? Noticing if the mind is wandering or thinking about lunch. All just information. And we continue to get better at learning how to understand when we just create more pause to feel what's actually happening. So I'm inviting an intention into the space for us to all tap into slowing down today, slowing down and being fully present with whatever is. And if you have any other intention, a one-word intention that you would like to add to the space as well, you're welcome to think it in your mind. And when you're ready, Very, 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 very slowly bring your hands up onto your heart, one on top of the other. So they're just holding each other on top of your heart. Feeling this connection to your body. Allow yourself to also feel gravity pulling you down, and this connection to the seat beneath you, which is ultimately connected to Mother Earth. And feel this grounding connection to the core of Mother Earth. We are really planted here. I mean, we can move, which is great, but we are really secure and attached in this flowing state. We're connected to Mother Earth, supporting us so deeply. She's holding us. And through this, I now invite you to release your hands down. And again, once more, very, very slowly, begin to go as slow as you possibly can, blinking your eyes open. So allowing it to be a practice. And this actually signals to your nervous system safety, that it's safe to slowly come back. And it's safe to be in your body. It's safe to be here. It's safe to feel here. And notice you might feel a little bit different than you did a few moments ago when we first started. I certainly feel more grounded and centered. So we're gonna come back to that a few more times of just checking in with the body and offering that as a practice that you can take with you, you know, as something when you're cooking food or when you're driving in the car, when you're taking a walk, and even having conversations with people, because the truth is often something that I experience and something that I see often with clients and other people that I get to hear intimately of their stories is that we're always in that place of getting to the next place. So it's like, oh, I'll be present when I hurry up and send this text message, or I'll be present when I finish cooking this meal so then I can really sit down and drop in, or I'll be present when I get where I'm going. And the truth is that I think we all know is that it really is a journey. It's not a destination. So when we are continually practicing pauses and we actually make this a practice, and you could even, a lot of times I suggest to people to set a timer on their phone for a little while until they get this practice integrated, but setting a timer so that you pause and check in with your body so that you know, you start to say like, oh, cool, like I see right now, like my belly's really tense. For me personally, that's somewhere where I carry a lot of energy. And so for many years, I would notice when I would check with my body, my belly would be really tight. And now over the years of practicing this consistently, what I find is that I check in automatically now, and I release my belly often. It's not to say that the tension doesn't happen. It's to say that because when I'm checking in, I can use my breath, or I can move my body a little bit. Even if I'm in the car, I can do a little wiggle or a little breath work and just clear it. And it's just, it becomes instantaneous. It becomes second nature, which is really, really a great thing to understand when we're tapping into our field, our own energy field, because our energy field is also communicating with the energy field of not just other people, but other places and things. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the morphogenetic field for a second, which is, you know, this idea of kind of connecting the consciousness that exists in the etheric, in the ether realm. And so interestingly enough, I know someone said prana on here. In the West, we don't really have a name. I think we say energy, but you know, we're not often talking about our etheric body. And so in a lot of different traditions, the etheric body is discussed. So we have a physical body, which is fed by food and builds this material body. But then our etheric body would be the next layer, and there's more, but the etheric body is essentially discussed in many other cultures. So in Chinese culture, we have chi, in Japanese ki, in Indian tradition prana, in Hawaiian tradition mana. And so we have these names that also sound similar, but they discuss this energy field around the body. And so not only is this energy field existing in this life force existing, but it also exists in all the other things that are communicating with each other. And science has even proven that it exists in inanimate objects as well, but that's a whole nother topic that's very big, and we won't dive too deep into that today. So I would like to just share a little story. I know a lot of you may be familiar with Alex Gray, but for some reason this morning, it just popped into my mind that I needed to share this, so I will share this. But if you've seen Alex Gray's very beautiful psychedelic conscious drawings and paintings really, that have really represented from some of his, he's always been an artist, but from some of his first spiritual experiences with psychedelics and entheogen experiences where he was having awakening and he experienced this consciousness field. He was like, I need to not only be able to draw that, but then he decided to then study anatomy and physiology so he could be able to draw the body and begin to show how these fields are actually connected to the body and also connected to everything else and expanding out into the field of consciousness, the ether. And so very interestingly, for anyone who is familiar with some of the plant medicines, such as ayahuasca, I have done a lot of research and also had personal experiences in that area. And I will say that from speaking with maestros, kind of some of the teachers and healers that share this medicine with the world, is that when they take a little bit, often the patient wouldn't even usually take ayahuasca traditionally. It used to be taken by the healer, the shaman, and just a small portion, and the shaman would be able to see your pattern, your energy field around your body. And in your energy field, they could see where there was certain blockages or disruption in the normal flow and pattern that was existing. And so they would speak the plant songs, they would sing the plant songs directly with vibrations, getting to that part in the energy field, and would be able to basically unlock and release whatever was stagnant or stuck in that part of the energy field, which then would affect, so it would be the etheric body, then affecting the physical body. And for anyone who's familiar, a lot of times people who are clairvoyant, who have clear vision to see energy fields, can often see that there is an illness before the illness actually shows up in the physical body. So this is really cool. This is like really cool to know that, you know, we can tap into some of this. So I felt called to share that. And now I want to share a personal story that happened last night. That's just kind of a fun little story that will segue us into going deeper. So my partner and I and our little girl, we live up at a cabin that my partner built. So we have a deep connection to this land. He's been coming here since he was a child. He's been in his family, and you know, building here and growing up here and having this home and these animals and creatures that we're around, we have a deeper connection with the land. And so last night we went outside around like 10 or 11, and all of a sudden he's like, hey, do you hear that? And I was like, what? And he's like, I hear an owl. And I was like, I don't hear it. And it got really quiet. And then all of a sudden he's like, he starts doing owl calls, like full on owl calls to the other owl. And within a moment, I could hear the owl calling, and it sounded very far away in the distance, like really far away, but I could hear it really faintly. And I was like, awesome. Like he tapped into the frequency of owl medicine, and then he transmitted it out, and then the owl's calling back. But in a second, he just looks down and he's like, look, there he is. And sure enough, 20 feet in front of us, there is a spotted owl sitting right there. And I believe because he was already tuning into the owl energy, that all of a sudden his mind's eye just directed him directly to the owl energy. Like the other owl was looking at him like, what's that making the sound? And then all of a sudden he felt the owl looking at him, and he knew just immediately right to look right there. And this owl right there, 20 feet away, staring right at us, just like, hey. And then we're like, oh my gosh, hello, goodbye. He flew away. It was beautiful. And so just kind of tapping into, yes, Rue, thank you for sharing. Chills. I know, because it's so magical when we actually start to tune in more and more deeply, and not only with ourselves, but then the environment around us. And it's this dance that we do back and forth, and it becomes this deeper relationship that we live with life, and also with guidance, because we already came here with everything that we need to get exactly where we are trying to go. Awesome. I love Al, says Aneshka. Beautiful. One of your favorite animal guides. Oh, yes. Beautiful. That's awesome. Just got a really cool Al shirt recently, too. Okay. Anyway, Al medicine. I'm glad it's penetrating the airwaves today. The ether. Okay. So now just tying back in, just connect for a moment. Tap into your body. And you can close your eyes if you'd like, because I do know that closing your eyes gives you just an extra little something to go inward. So tune into your body now. And how does it feel after I just shared those stories? What do you notice now? Again, we're practicing the pause, and we're just simply noticing what has come informed in our body. And then when you're ready, just slowly blinking the eyes back open. Okay, so just notice, and feel free to share if at any point you notice something like your body felt more open, or excited, or even closed, like, oh, I don't know, that was weird. Just being open to whatever the body reveals and allowing that to exist. So the next thing is truth. What is truth? So in the most simple and the best way that I would love to explain this is, truth is what makes you stronger. So when we begin to notice in our body, when we actually get to tap into what makes us stronger in any moment, like, oh, I hung out with that person, I felt stronger now. Awesome. Rue just said, definitely more expansive. I totally felt more expansive after the Al story too. Thank you for saying that. So yeah, I noticed too that, or sorry, getting back to the truth, who do we hang out with that makes us feel expansive? Who do we hang out with that makes us feel constricted? Same thing with certain foods. It starts to become a game when you go to the grocery store or the restaurant or the farmer's market. Like, what do I actually want right now? Because the more in tune you start to become with your own field, you can honor what your body actually needs. This is super profound. It sounds really simple, and in a way it is, but in a way it also just takes time and practice, which is what doing any work is. It's just taking practice to reconnect with ourselves. So I'm going to share that. Okay, so if you can think, oh no, okay, sorry, excuse me, got one. All right. When I was at this Tantra festival back in January, we did a really beautiful embodiment exercise. And first they had us partner up, and we would put our arm out, and our partner would come up to us and try to push down on our arm. You're holding your arm as strong as you can just so that no one can push it down. And so here it is, your arm's actually pretty strong. If somebody comes up, you can practice this later with someone if you don't believe me, or just for fun, yeah, you can get going. Okay, so now, yeah, this is actually a good example if Jess and Chelsea want to go for it. So then now I would like for you to Chelsea as the receiver, focus on a negative thought about someone. And I'm sorry to ask that because that's not something that we really want to do, but just for this exercise. And when you think that negative thought and you really have it focused, give me a nod so I know you've got a focused thought. Okay, so now Jess, push on Chelsea's arm. So she just went whoop, right down. Okay, so I don't know if everyone can see that, but essentially the body begins to weaken when we have negative thoughts, whether about ourselves, whether about someone else, it doesn't matter. Whatever negative thoughts you're thinking actually weakens your field, your life force, your energy field. So now, just to complete that, Chelsea, think of something really positive that excites you, that fills you up. Think something so sweet about someone, and hold strong with that arm. And look at that, rock solid back there. Just a tiny little boop, boop. Okay, legit. So just represented, I don't know if you can all see this when you're watching the video, but it was a really beautiful experience that we got to witness between Jess and Chelsea right here, because what is happening is that our body never lies to us. It never lies to us. And Chelsea just said super legit. Well, Jess said super legit. So this is a great practice that you can take, even trying and practicing with other people, but also just to remember now that you've seen it, and you can understand that when you think negative thoughts about yourself, we'll just start with yourself, no matter how small, it weakens your field, which ultimately weakens your life force, which ultimately weakens your immunity, which ultimately weakens your inspiration, like all of these things. So this is why we're here. This is why we are part of the Shift Happens right now, is because we ain't got time for that, So really, we're like ready to start. Yeah, exactly. I see you, Aneshka. So, all right. Though tying that back in, we're going to go into, think of a time when you go into the grocery store. Let's just say you're walking past the apples and you haven't even looked at the apples yet. But what's already happening is that your energy field, your etheric field, is already communicating with the energy field of all the apples in the store. Okay, whether or not you choose to walk over there, whether or not you choose to walk and go to the ice cream section instead, whatever the thing is, but your body might actually be craving the apple. And so what happens when you actually take the time to say, does my body actually want the apple right now? Or like, will it want an apple tomorrow? Like, and you tune into it and your body's like, well, your body will actually give you a yes or a no. Your body will cue to you if that's the thing you need. And so I'm going to share a story about one of my clients, actually. He's been going through a really, really beautiful healing transformation on so many levels. And one of the things that we worked on it was around nourishing food. And, you know, sometimes, again, like the thing that our intuition is telling us to do, we either maybe don't want to do it or we don't expect it to be that thing, so we override it. And really, we want to get back to a place where we're not overriding our system and our needs. And so when we tapped into his deeper needs of food, all of a sudden we realized like all the foods that he was eating wasn't actually what he wanted. And when I helped guide him into his body and do a meditation around what kind of food would actually be the most supportive for him, he knew right away, like, oh, I need X, Y, and Z right now. And I'm going to make that happen, because when he actually tuned into his body, he could almost feel like he was already receiving the nourishment from the food, because he was already tuning into the frequency of what happens if I actually honor what my body needs, right? So, you know, I just really want to emphasize that, you know, it's not talked about in the self-care world enough. Like sometimes, you know, the thing that you really need to do isn't always going to be what you want to do, but it will support you ultimately. It will give you the life force. It will feed your etheric field if you start to honor it. And the more that you build this relationship of trust with yourself, the stronger you become, the more optimal you live. It's just like this beautiful dance and reciprocation, and also becomes the way in which you communicate with owls, or you go outside and have an experience where you're like, I'm listening, I hear you, I see you, I'm tuning in. So let's all take a breath on that one. And a pause and a notice. Notice in those areas. If you'd like to close your eyes, you're welcome to. Notice what it feels like. It's always changing too. And when you're ready, slowly come back and just be. I also want to share that love and compassion live in the body. They are not a mind conceptualized experience. They actually live in our body. And so often when people are disconnected from their body, it is a little bit harder to feel these really profound emotions. So if we're always in the mental field, I won't even say always, just if sometimes that's our main place we live, in the mental field, then we are not able to connect sometimes with those deeper layers of compassion and love, which is ultimately what we came here to do. Chelsea says we actually can't physically think and feel at the same time, need to feel and think. Oh, wow. Really cool. Awesome. Yeah, so that's amazing just to know that, right? So as soon as we can see, thank you, Chelsea, as soon as we can see or recognize, as soon as we can recognize that we're like in that overthink mode, overdrive mode, then all of a sudden we can tune back into our body, which is kind of what we've just been doing with the pause. Is as soon as we recognize like, oh, we get too mental, then all of a sudden we can drop back in and we can feel and recognize and be guided. That is so cool. I love that. Thank you. So this vessel, right? This body comes from Mother Earth. Yes. This amazing vessel. And in order for us to be connected to the ether, we have to recognize that spirit needs to be able to flow into this vessel, right? So we get to be really deeply grounded and connected to Mother Earth, but then we also get to have this energy that we connect to and be guided by what's the next best thing for us to do. It's our higher knowing, it's our higher self, it's great spirit, it's divine intelligence, whatever you want to call it. There's many more names too, but you pick the thing, source, whatever works for you, and recognize that this channel, this vessel needs to be a clear channel in order for information to come in and to be fully received. So we can do that through movement. We can do that through breath work. We can do that through sounds and mantras. And another thing that I'll say too is if any of you have ever seen a tuning fork, right? We have one tuning fork. I love Jess is already getting her move on. We have one tuning fork and we have another tuning fork. If one tuning fork is vibrating, then the other one, if it's nearby, will automatically start to hum. So this one's vibrating and the other one will start to hum too, and they'll actually come into resonance. And it's a similar thing where we are recognizing like, oh, I'm coming into resonance with the apple. Or if all of a sudden you also begin to practice regularly honoring what your needs are when they come up, then you actually start to resonate more with just that vibration of like, I know that I just do it. I don't even think about it. It starts to be like, should I take a walk? It starts to be like, you just put your shoes on and walk out the door. The question doesn't even exist anymore, because when you start really being in resonance with your body, you just feel and you go for it. You honor it. It's a really beautiful thing. So I have us coming up on a practice in just a moment. And before we dive into that, I just want to say that, you know, in Qigong, there's this pose, it's called, or this practice, it's called heaven rushing in. And that's not the practice we're going to be doing, but the pose itself is really standing up and calling in the light of the heavens and letting it rush in and flow in and fill you up. And so it's beautiful that these ancient practices that just are still supporting us to this day and age, where we really get to physically make a pose with our body and call in the energy that we wish to call in. And if you practice these things, you'll start to notice that you feel them, that there is an energy that comes in. And so similarly with yoga, right? Like when you get into a pose, when you hold a pose like warrior pose, you are actually showing yourself and speaking to the ether. You're speaking to the field. Like, I am a warrior. I am strong. I have the strength. Like, I have what it takes, you know, to be in this fierce pose. And it speaks out and communicates what you're stepping into, what you're becoming. Jess says it changes your physiology to do these power poses. 100%. Absolutely. Thank you, Jess. Yes. So really tapping into and knowing that, and taking this with you, you know, because we forget, we're humans, we're forgetful creatures, but somewhere in there now, through having taken notes and being here on this call, right? It's somewhere in your field, right? That's why it's cool when we sit down and we take the time to study or take notes or journal. You know, it starts to put things out into the ether. It's part of, and this can go way deep into manifestation and all kinds of other things. But for right now, where I really want to take you is I want to take you on a journey about how to feel to heal. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go through a practice. We're going to have 3 songs that are going to guide us through. And I want to invite you, if you are feeling courageous, to have your camera on for it. No one's going to be watching, and no one's going to be able to see it. But if you feel comfortable just allowing us to all be in this space together, whether we're moving or dancing or whatever that is. So the first practice, we're going to actually pick something that is a little bit challenging for us right now. Maybe you had something challenging come up for you this week. And I will say, don't pick the heaviest, craziest, most traumatic thing that ever happened to you, just to be clear, right? And really honor your body. So whatever your body really wants to do or needs to do, please listen to that. As you live with your body, I don't. So honor that deeply and continue to honor that. So the first part, we'll pick something challenging, and we're gonna actually give it a shape, and we're gonna give it a pose to express what it is that we've been feeling, that what it is that's been a challenge for us, and give it space, because sometimes when we're not allowing things to have the spaciousness and the attention that they need, they just build up and they get stagnant and they build out into our etheric energy field. And that is where the illness and the dis-ease in the body comes from. So what we'll do is we'll do that. We'll tap into the challenge, and we'll just move with it, and we'll be there for about 3 minutes. And then we will go into a shaking practice, which shaking all the time. If you've done shaking, if you haven't done shaking, I will guide you through it, so it's okay. Shake all the time. I encourage it. And yeah, today's practice will leave you supported, so you can take that with you if you like. And then the last part is that we're going to step into a dance of what it looks like when we flow through into that next energy that we're ready to cultivate from that challenge. So I hope that everyone understood. Aneshka, were you able to hear that description? Cool. Yeah. Okay. Oh, no. Okay. So we're going to just go through a practice. I'll guide you through it completely, so you can keep up with us. We're going to pick a challenge that we've been experiencing, nothing too heavy, just maybe something that has been a challenge in your life for this last week. Thank you everyone for turning on your cameras, by the way. And then we're going to give it a pose. We're going to give it a shape. We're going to express in the body what it feels like if it were to act itself out, like fully and completely. And then we'll do a little bit of shaking, and then we're going to move into the energy of what it is that we would like to cultivate and open and pose into what we want to be. So I'm going to start us up with some music in just 1 minute. I'm going to take a drink first. Water. And everyone, if at any point you can't hear me, just go like this, so I know. Okay, so just give me a hands up, and I will begin the music. And yeah, so So get yourself in a nice standing position if you're not already there. Get yourself ready to move, or you can do it sitting down if that's comfortable for you, but get yourself in whatever position that you're going to move in. So, and just connect with your breath for a moment. And I invite you to shut the eyes down and allow yourself to just go there inward for a moment. And just begin by calling in the energy of that challenge. What that looks like for you today. Where do you feel it in your body? If there was any hurt or judgment this week or anything that came up, allow yourself to begin to bring in some gentle movement if it feels comfortable. Connecting to your breath. And if you were going to give that challenge a shape, what would it feel like? Would it be tight and constrictive? Where does it feel heavy or stagnant? And even if it's a slow movement, feel all of what that feeling has to offer. And allow it to really just move through you. What is it here to teach you? What is it here to tell you? I promise you there's medicine and wisdom in it. Connect for a moment with your inner child. What does your inner child feel like when that thing happens? Does your inner child want to scream and shout? Connecting to your breath. Allow your movements to be as small or as large as they need to be. Feel it. Is it uncomfortable? Notice, put them up. If there's emotions, let them flow. Invite you to let them flow. Breathe. Notice. Notice how the feeling shifts and changes. Where maybe it moves. Notice if it moves somewhere else in the body. Breathe to that area of the body. Keep your hand somewhere on the body, touching those sensitive parts, touching the parts that need a little love right now.
We will act immediately on the more troubling aspects of this report with respect to alcohol use and the anecdotal references of resistance by agency leadership to accepting advice or criticism about the fitness and readiness of individuals for space flight.
And we're going to transition and allow ourselves and allow our inner child to have a little temper tantrum for a minute. If your inner child was angry or sad or just needed something, what did it need? And just begin to jump and shake and let whatever you got in you to go. If you need to throw stuff, throw it. If you need to punch out in the air, let your best kickboxing moves go. I'm going to invite you to do fast football legs. Where you're just lifting the toes, feet are off the ground and shaking your hands. Let your hands come up around your body and clear your ears and feel. Clear it all out of your field. Make your tail like a happy puppy. That's what you can, side to side. Shake it out. Keep clearing breath. Into the nose, out through the mouth. Let it out down if you need to. Hang in there. Just a little bit longer to go. That's it. You can let go of anything that's not hurting you. Taking as big or small as your feet can. Let it do nothing. Last little bit here, you got this. All week. Coming to the last little bit. Maybe just start to keep shaking, but maybe just slow your shaking down. Allowing your shake to be a little smaller. Let any neck rolls that need to come through. Release the neck and the shoulders. And just pause for a moment. Pausing here. Close the eyes, shut the eyes down for a moment. And feel. Yes, do the waggle dance. Okay, so closing the eyes and feel. Tune into your body for a moment. Feel your life force pumping through you, pulsating rapidly. Feel that fresh oxygen and blood pumping through you, clearing on a physical level. And notice from that physical place if you can tune into the energy of maybe your hands or your arms. And notice if you feel any sort of tingling or maybe chills or coolness. Maybe in your hands, you can even feel your heartbeat. allows your nervous system resets and calms and restores, to feel that energy that you feel on your skin. That is your etheric nature. That is the ether. That is the field. More importantly, what you're feeling around your body is your etheric field, your ether, your personal ether in the grand field. And just embrace that for a moment. Just feel that. There's no rush to get anywhere. This is you. This greatness, this energy, this is you. This livelihood, this is you. And so I invite you now to inhale with the palms up, reaching up to the sky, and feeling your hands come together, tingling with life force, with prana, with chi, mana, ki. And now bring your palms facing out and bring them down as if to feel your own energy bubble. Feeling it surround you. Knowing that your biofield, your aura, is also a protective spacesuit, allowing beneficial energies to come in, if you so choose. Inhale, reach the arms up one more time, feeling that bubble. Taking a deep breath and holding at the top. And then exhaling slowly as you bring the hands back down to feel your bubble once more. And begin to feel your feet on the earth. Notice them, grounding them. Maybe bring a slight bend in the knees, maybe a little bounce. And with the eyes still closed, we're going to transition to the third part of the practice as we transition into the poses that we would like to cultivate from this challenge or moving forward in our lives. So just simply allow the music to move you. What do you want to cultivate? How do you want to show up? How do you want to stand and walk? You want to be free? I believe we are. Come back to our bodies. It will always guide us to our freedom, to our truth, to our strength, to our highest and best. I'm going to walk to this way. Feeling the compassion, the inner child who needed a tantrum, compassion for the challenge of your life, that every challenge is teaching you about you. Take witness to that. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Your life force energy, charge it up with your breath. Letting out some sound with freedom. What does freedom look like for you? Show that. Dance that. If you could show your heart opening. What would that look like? Let your heart lead for a moment. What does that feel like? And just find your way to a nice place of stillness. And slowly bring your way back to a nice, grounded, feel your feet on the earth. You can sway a little bit as you bring your way to stillness. Bring in one hand to the belly and to the heart. And again, just a slight bend in the knees. Shoulders lift, heart expresses and opens forward. Feel again your life force, your energy. You are so powerful. And you're so powerful when you're connected to your body and its wisdom. So I would like for you to now set an I am intention statement for how you'd like to proceed from this day forward, from this moment forward, of how you'd like to connect with your body from here on out. You can say it out loud, you're all on mute. Or you can say it in your mind if that feels better. And with that intention, I invite you to repeat it 2 more times in your mind or out loud. Taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And when you're ready, just slowly blink your eyes open and slowly make your way back to the space together. Hello, hello. Feel free to let me know how that experience was for you in the chat if you'd like. I see clear faces. Just there seems like
Hey Lauren, I'll go ahead and share my experience.
Awesome. Love to hear.
So first off, I would love what you're speaking about, like ether, the knowledge that you shared. I actually want to go back to the video and re-listen because the wording was really, really well stated. And so the dancing experience, I wasn't really expecting this, but it was so needed. And I'm so glad I joined just to like be a part of this. So it was funny because like when you said like bring out like your inner child, I'm like punk, you know, like I'm on my bed back in my room, like I'm all alone and this world sucks, you know. And so like still like kind of like pushing that physical, like that's still like in me a little bit, you know, like this rebel. And but you said like get this like energy like out of this physical form, and because that's like not really needed, that was stagnant for me. And so then like when the music slowed down, then there's like this grace and like remembrance of the 5 elements and that we're not alone but connected. And so I'm really glad to have shared like this moment with like the people who joined today, and hope all the other viewers today can actually get into that, or at least like see maybe like the energy that we brought to this. So it was really beautiful, and yeah, thanks for sharing.
Thank you so much for saying that. Wow, I'm so glad to hear. And look, it's so cool, right? Like your body already knew what to do and how to like guide you through that experience, already knew where to take you. You know, that's just, yeah, that's so cool. Thank you. I'm glad you got something really powerful out of it.
Yeah, totally. And like you said, like it's, and then in the end, I was just like, it's powerful to be in my body, you know, to like listen to my body. And yeah, like there's a lot other like realms going on, but it's most important like to be grounded, and like we can like shake out like what we need to get through, because the energy stays in our body. So yeah, thanks.
You're so welcome. That's awesome. And you can do this. You can do this all the time. And you know, one thing that I see is like you can visit your inner child once in a while, or just do it like this. But you can also visit your inner child often. And you know, for me, I'll just share a personal example. Recently, I had a moment where I felt judgment from someone close to me, and I realized in that moment, you know, I was like, what does my inner child really need in this experience? Like, what's really going on here? You know, and it took me right back to childhood, and it was like, oh, like, you know, she's feeling judged. She's feeling like she really needs a hug right now because she's not being seen. She's not really being heard. She's not really being, and the truth is like, the truth about judgment is what someone says about you, whether to you or about you or whatever, it says more about them than it does about you. So, you know, but that being said, it's still nice to be able to sit with those parts of ourselves when they come up and honor them, because there's still parts of our inner child that need to have a tantrum for a minute. Like, I have a 3-year-old, so like I see the tantrums and I'm like, sometimes I feel like that, but I don't necessarily, like, I never really knew that until I started doing some of this deeper inner child stuff. I was like, oh, in my mind, it doesn't look like, ah! But it is. It actually, somewhere in the body, it feels like that. You know, maybe I'm not physically like acting out a tantrum, but I can. So then when we do, it can feel really good, you know, to be like, oh yeah, that's good, that's gone, you know. So I'm glad that you found that, you know, really powerful. And you know, and healing, right? Like, healing is it's a spiral, it's a cyclical journey. So sometimes like we'll have this really big breakthrough, and then a deeper layer will come up like later at some point. We're like, oh cool, I remember that time when we, you know, tantrums on the bed, let's do it again, you know. So it starts to be fun, and it starts to be like, cool, I know how to navigate these waters. And with sweet practices that we practice, they become second nature when we need them. So like, if you keep practicing the shaking, if you kind of guide yourself with some music, you can find yourself, you can give yourself the medicine that you need so that you can be grounded and in your power and fully expressing, you know. So thank you for sharing all of that. Yes. Also, I wanted to say something too. You just kind of reminded me on it, like the memory piece, because, you know, like when we do healing work, we can all of a sudden have a memory come up, right? I'm sure most of us have experienced that. And it's really wonderful. Like, I notice whenever I ask someone, whenever healing work comes up with my clients, as soon as I ask them, what's the first memory, they always go to a place. There's never like no, I can't think of anything, because memory actually, and science cannot even prove for a second in the brain where memory lives, because in the brain, it'll light up all these different areas. But what science is leaning towards now, which, you know, spirituality has talked about forever, is that memory actually lives in the field. So in the ether, the memories exist, which we could go on a whole deep conversation about, you know, how to access the Akashic records and how to all of a sudden tap into all these memories, because they are somewhere existing. And yeah, so it's just cool to kind of, you know, think about these things on a deeper level. So yeah, I'll say that.
Do you have something, Aneshka?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I kind of wanted to share a little bit about what
I'd love to hear.
Yeah, well, I'm like sweating over here, like really releasing a lot. It's really good. But hold on, son. Sorry. In a little bit, my love. Give me a second. And then I just wanted to share about like kids, like definitely they're like our greatest teachers, and you're talking about like them throwing a tantrum, and it's like in a way the tantrum's good because they're not holding on to it. It's not being stuck in their body. They're releasing it. And so it's like, you know, like they teach us so much. And so that's the way that I view my kids. And then also I wanted to share, what else? Oh yeah, like my childhood memory, like that's what came up to me was childhood memory too, when you're with, and for me, it was like being told that I talk too much, being told that, oh, you don't know because you're young. You know, like I would, I would, I would try to be like I would say stuff a part of the conversations, and then I would just get dismissed like, oh, but you're young, like you don't know. And I still have that occurring within myself now, because I'm 25 years old, and, and I have moments of like things that come to me like, can I really do this? Can I really? And oh, okay, hold on, baby. And it's the trash, baby. And like son, I'm like, I'm losing and yeah, I have moments of like thinking like, can I really do this? I'm young. Like I'm young, like, but that's the thing that I've been working on, honestly, for like since I was like 21 years old. Like it's still a process for me. I'm like, my age doesn't matter because my soul's old. Like I know I've been around for a very long time, so.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing it. A cutie son in the background. I know that like too well.
I just super appreciate you, Lauryn, and just everything you're bringing into this. And thank you. It's like every mastermind, everything I'm into right now, it's like all leading to dance and like dancing out that inner child. And I work a lot with the Sophia Code, and she just keeps saying, Kaya Ra is just like, the inner child is gangster. Like the inner child, yes, the inner child will fuck you up. You know what I mean? Like if you make a date with your inner child and you don't follow through, then that inner child will find a way to like get you. So it's like so important to be like, okay, at 7 o'clock, I'm going to have a dance party with my inner child, and hold true to that. And like, just know like your most adult self thing to do is like give your inner child time so that your adult self can do the professional work that we're here to do and seed on this planet. And my professional work looks like having an inner child tantrum right now. And that's like, I think what we all need. So great job on like showing the fuck up for yourself to dance it out, because we need it. We were screaming our lungs off over here.
And like I was on the floor at one point, like pounding the floor. It was so good, so cathartic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I do want to honor the time, but Lauryn, just let people know how they can contact you if they want to reach out, for coaching or just any other embodiment work that you're doing. Just give us a little plug.
Sure, yeah. So you can find me at arisealchemy.com or arisealchemy on Instagram. And yeah, right now I do private mentorships for 3 months, and I dive really, really deep in going into your inner child and the self-love process and what it takes to go through all of those places within yourself so that you can really be embodied and come here to do what you came here to do. And whether that's connecting with, your sexuality, or through sound healing and doing different things with movement and different ways of goal setting and really honoring what you've always been called to do, even if it's the thing that you're least expected that surprises you. It's like really learning how to listen to yourself. And so I just guide you on a journey back to you, where you can find all of the answers that you already have, and just clearing away all of the programs that have gotten in the way for that. So that's a little bit about what I do, and I would love to connect with any of you if you have any questions too. If you just want to reach out to me, like I'm just happy to be there for support. And we're all in this together. We're all walking each other home and waking each other up, as Ram Dass said. So we all are in this together, and I feel really just grateful again to be here. And I wish you all a beautiful day. If anybody has I don't know if you have any questions for closing, Jess and Chelsea, let me know.
No questions, just again, thank you so much. And I'll give Lauryn a testimonial. She's great. I've worked with her one-on-one. So just feeling really awesome and clear and connected right now. And we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Tomorrow we're gonna have one of my dear friends, Micah, on, and they have some really epic stories and things to share from a recent journey to the Amazon and working with an indigenous tribe down there. So they'll be bringing in more of the ether elements.
Super channel too.
And their connection to spirit and prana and life force in the field. So
it'll be a good one.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. So if you can all tune in, we'd love to see you. And same time, same place.
Be the shift.
Can I say one last thing, Jess? I wrote one thing down that I had to share, and I just realized I forgot to say it. So I just would like to say that the field is alive. And so the reminder is everything that you recognize this, every time you recognize this interconnectedness, if you are ever wanted to be living on purpose, which you already are, then all you have to do is keep doing this little bits every day. It's all in the little things that you do. And as you heal yourself, you heal the world, truly, truly, truly. And so you are a part of the ether, your thoughts, your words, your actions. And so thank you for just even being here, because this ripples out into the world. So yeah, thanks again, Jess and Chelsea, and all you beautiful beings. I love you.
Namaste.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.